In today's episode, I'm going to show you how to reduce the risk of employee turnover. I'm working with Emily, who's a client of mine, on designing her leadership style and creating a leadership development plan for her so she can lead by example. And then what we're going to do is do the same exercise with her entire leadership team. So there's accountability, commitment, and empowerment and community through growing as a leader in their organization. The results of this are going to be absolutely outstanding, and it's going to open up communication, it's going to enhance problem solving, and it's going to make leadership development be a 50-50 path and partnership path for both the owner of the restaurant and every leadership layer within the organization. Enjoy. Welcome to the Restaurant Leadership Podcast, the show where restaurant leaders learn tools, tactics, and habits from the world's greatest operators. I'm your host, Kristen Marvin, with Solutions by Kristen. I've spent the last 2 decades in the restaurant industry and now partner with restaurant owners to develop their leaders and scale their businesses through powerful one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and leadership workshops. This show is complete with episodes around coaching, leadership development, and interviews with powerful industry leaders. You can now engage with me on the show and share topics you'd like to hear about, leadership lessons you want to learn, and any feedback you have. Simply click the link at the top of the show notes and I will give you a shout out on a future episode. Thanks so much for listening, and I look forward to connecting. Running an independent restaurant is no joke. You're doing it all. Managing your team, maintaining quality, keeping things safe, and the back of the house can sometimes feel like organized chaos. That's where restaurant technology steps in. They've created a system called Total Oil Management that helps take one big job off your plate, managing cooking oil. No more lugging jugs of oil or dealing with dangerous spills. Their system does 4 things for you. Delivers fresh oil automatically, removes used oil safely, no mess, no stress, helps your team stay safe and your food consistent, and even turns your used oil into biofuel, which is pretty cool. Thousands of independents across the country are already using it to cut costs, save time, and make their kitchens run smoother. If you're curious about this and want to learn more about how it could work in your space, visit go.rti-inc.com/restaurant leadership podcast. Again, that's go.rti-inc.com/restaurant leadership podcast. Emily, we are going to spend some time today coaching through how you want to show up as a leader. And we've been working together for a while. This is going to be fun to revisit. We've talked about it in short sentences and in many, many ways, many times. But what is important to you today about understanding how you want to show up as a leader?
You know, the thing that's really important to me today and right now, honestly, is that I'm in this kind of pretty big transition as a leader at the moment. And so part of this has really been, I guess, redefining who it is that I want to be as a leader because of a new role. As well as, and as I'm preparing for this meeting with my whole leadership team tomorrow, where we really are kicking off this next part of the journey of me being in this new role, as well as kind of trying to revisit some things that maybe we used to do that we really enjoyed, and things that I used to do as a leader that I really enjoy that maybe we want to get back to. So it's a little bit of kind of column A and column B, which seem a little like they might fight, kind of, because some of it is like new and growth and development, a new role, but then some of it is stuff that I feel like was really great. You know, I've been in my role for 19 years with my company, and so some things that I thought were really great from 10 years ago that I really miss, that I also want to bring back as a leader as well. So a little bit of It's a very wide spectrum.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about your current position and this transition that you're getting ready to go through?
Yeah, totally. So I, as you know, am currently the COO of Secret Sauce. So, and have been in that role and slowly, gradually working up into that role for 19 years, really since we opened Steuben's Uptown. But Josh, who has been my boss and my friend and my mentor and is the owner of the company, is now on sabbatical, and really kind of handing officially unofficially handing the reins over, um, and really not having the kind of presence that he has had before. And the reason that it's a big deal is the day-to-day and the logistical, like, I've been doing this job for a very long time. So it's not one of those where people are going to be like, whoa, this is going to be brand new as far as like what my day to day looks like. But Josh's voice, which has always been very present in the company, is gone. Like he's fully, I terminated him out of all of our systems yesterday or 2 days ago. Like he literally he can't access financial statements. He can't get into Toast. Like even if he wanted to, he couldn't because he is not an employee on any of our systems anymore. So it's a pretty big transition just in terms of, I think it's more kind of figuratively than operationally because I'm the last tier, whereas there's always been kind of just one more tier of things that people that I could bounce ideas off of, or if it was something that quite frankly that either I didn't feel equipped to deal with or didn't care to deal with, I could kind of like shovel it over to him. And I don't have that person right now, which is kind of a big deal.
If you are feeling the pressure of rising costs and staffing shortages or supply chain chaos, you are not alone. The truth is the economic forecast may be shifting, but your restaurant still needs to keep moving forward. That's why I'm headed to the 2025 National Restaurant Association Show happening May 17th through the 20th in Chicago. This show is built for operators like you, offering real solutions for real challenges, from cost-saving equipment to strategies for navigating today's tough labor market. Plus, you'll get access to cutting-edge technology, menu innovation, and expert-led sessions that'll help you stay resilient no matter what the market throws your way. And I'll be there, and I'd love to see you too. Here's a bonus for you too. Use my promo code Kristen25 at checkout and get $25 off your Expo Show badge. All you have to do is go to nationalrestaurantshow.com to register and grab your ticket. Don't wait though, because this offer expires May 9th. The 2025 show is where the future of food service comes to life. Don't miss it, and I hope to see you there. And you've been going through some incredible changes and structure, different leadership structure changes in order to get ready for this. And so you've brought on a new director of operations. Your role is changing, and your leaders, things are going to change a little bit for them too. So we're going to start with doing this exercise with you today, and then the goal is that we do this with your leadership team too. What's the hope and the impact that you really want to see from their perspective?
In terms of working with you, or
just in terms of identifying their leadership style and really building a leadership development plan for themselves.
Okay, cool. So the thing, big picture, and I don't know that this exactly answers your question, but what is living in my head right now is two different things that I want to get to. One is I really want to strengthen the teams to where they have the focus and the skills and the empowerment to function the two restaurants as independently functioning restaurants, if that makes sense. For years and years, forever, we've always had this extra layer, this secret sauce layer that has functioned as everything from HR to shift coverage to really everything that they need. And unfortunately, it's been beautiful on a lot of levels, but there's also been this level of where my GMs haven't 100% been able to develop into GMs because there's always been me or always been another layer to deal with maybe some things that GMs should deal with, and same with chefs and things like that. So the first part is really some greater empowerment on how to make it to where Steubens just operates as Steubens, and they don't care whether I'm around or not. And Ace operates as Ace, and they're just kind of these functioning restaurants that just take care of themselves. Would be a really big deal. And then the other part on the leadership side of things, and you and I have talked about this before, is this idea of sustainability, and getting back to / creating new / opening lines of communication, whatever that looks like, to where my team is feeling supported by this environment in a way that it is sustainable for them to be here happily and productively for a very long time.
Beautiful.
And those are like my two big ones.
Love it. Well, kudos to you for showing up here first and doing the work yourself. And leading by example. This will be, I think, really exciting for them to listen to, and for you to share your development plan with them, and to hopefully motivate and inspire them to really take this seriously and lead with that focus and clarity to help the business be more sustainable and empower them to be even better leaders than they are today, which is really exciting. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Well, let's jump in. So let's start with a leader that's really made a huge impact in your world. This could be someone that you know in the community, someone that you've worked with, someone, a boss, or someone that you've led that you just really admire. Let's talk about that person.
I mean, I guess I have two, so it depends on which one fits more of kind of which direction we want to go. I mean, am I allowed to say Josh, even though I'm kicking him out of my world?
You can say whoever you want.
Really, Josh has had hands down the most biggest impact on my life of any leader, and that's both professional and personal. I mean, you can, after working with someone for 19 years and knowing him, I mean, my ex-husband worked for him before I started working for him for 5 years before that. So I've known Josh for 25 years, right? So I would say he's had a huge impact on me as an individual. The other one that comes to mind would be my general manager, my old general manager at Ace. Her name was Kate. She's still around. She's just not my GM anymore. Her name's Katie. She moved out to Portland, and she just had a huge impact on me, just in terms of seeing the power of being a really awesome mentor for someone, which I was with her. I really took her under my wing for like a full 2 years almost. She had never been a GM before, and when she left us, was the best GM we've ever had. And we still have a great relationship, and she still runs things by me, and she still says thank you for everything that she learned here. So that was pretty empowering, and seeing where she's at now and what she's doing with her life is really inspiring as well.
Awesome. Those are great. What leadership characteristics does Josh embody?
He has this eye for, he sees things that no one else sees. That, well, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, every single time you come in, you see something, which can sometimes be like soul crushing, but at the end of the day, he's also not wrong, right? And he has this attention to detail. He has a very specific idea in mind of how he likes things done. But he also is willing to bend based on what's best for the team and best for the company, even if it doesn't quite fit in with what his head is at, where his head's at. So I would say eye for detail and seeing everything, flexibility.
Okay.
And he asks a lot of really great questions. Sometimes almost to a fault, where you're like, oh my God, can you please stop asking questions? Just let me do my thing. But again, at the end of the day, he's not wrong with all his questions, which makes him just very thoughtful.
Okay.
He's not money driven. It's always been about the people and the culture and the love of what we do.
Okay.
And that's a really big deal too.
So we've got attention to detail, flexible. I wrote down curious, thoughtful, people focused, culture focused. Anything else?
I mean, I could say a million, but those are probably the big ones. I mean, I have always said that he really taught me how to do business the right way.
Okay. How about Katie? What characteristics would you use to describe her?
Dedication, high energy. She had a way of, her team would do anything for her. She had this way of just like rallying, and it could be like, let's go scrub the dumpsters. And they'd be like, yay, we love Katie, right? Like the worst thing possible. And it didn't matter because they just loved her so much.
How would you describe that?
What's that?
How would you describe that in one word?
What the staff felt, or that characteristic of hers?
That characteristic of hers.
In one word, Kristen. I mean, that's a leader.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
a leader. To have people willing to follow you anywhere and everywhere and do whatever needs to happen is pretty like amazing. Her team was so dedicated to her. It was really like awe-inspiring.
What was it about Katie that inspired them to follow like that?
I mean, part of it was her age. I mean, she's very close, right? She's young, so they could relate, which, I mean, that just is what it is. But, she was always very positive, always very excited about what was going on, excited about trying new things, would call them on their bullshit, which I think was a big deal, and not in like a shitty way, and just like a, hey, don't do that, right? And they'd be like, okay, you're right. She also, and this is not necessarily a positive thing, but she was here. She loved Ace so much. So she was here to the point where I would have to like kick her out, be like, you have to take a day off. But she just loved being here. And I think her team could sense that she just loved Ace, and she wanted to make it the best, greatest, most awesome place possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got dedication, high energy, relatable, positive, excited, direct / tough love, and present.
Yes.
Okay. Hey there, podcast friends. I hope you're enjoying these impactful conversations and leadership insights I'm bringing you each week. Before we dive back into today's episode, I want to take a moment and reach out and ask a small favor that would go a long way in supporting the show. If you've been loving the content I'm providing, please take a moment to leave a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Not only does it make my day, but it also plays a pivotal role in helping the show grow. Your reviews boost my visibility, attract new listeners, and encourage exciting guests to join me on the mic. So if you want to be part of my show's growth journey, hit that review button and let me know what you think. Thanks a million for being awesome listeners. If you were going to pick 5 of these characteristics that you wanted to embody,
okay,
or you may have your own list based off the work that we've done together of how you want to show up as a leader, what would those 5 characteristics be?
I'll think of 5. They may live, I can't remember what's on that list, but I'm 47 years old. I can't remember anything. I would say the things that I want to, out of that list, or what's in my head, the 5 biggest ones for me, motivational, what was the one for like holding people accountable, but in like a good way?
Like direct / tough love?
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
Okay. I'll put direct. Okay.
Direct. Motivational, direct, relatable, which to me, on my level, I think just means more like accessible. I know that I'm not necessarily going to relate on the same level that Katie did to her 23-year-old peers, but I do want to make sure that there's a comfortability with addressing me, or coming to me with their things. Empowering, I think, is a really big deal for me. I tend to want to do everything myself, and I think it's a really big deal in this new role that I'm empowering other people to do the things that honestly they should be doing anyway. Yeah. And probably high energy. Like I want to make sure that I can exude just how dedicated and committed and excited I am for making these businesses greater than they are. So I don't know if that's in the high energy. I don't know what that is, but
yeah. Okay. So we've got motivational.
For me, that's good. Yes.
Yeah. We've got motivational, direct.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote accessible / approachable.
Yeah.
One of those words speaking to you more than the other?
I'd say approachable.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then empowering and energetic.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you now to rate each of these on a scale of 1 to 10. So
Okay.
1 is it's hardly showing up at all. 10 is you feel like it's firing on all cylinders every day. So
what's happening currently?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, where you're at today. Exactly. Okay. So let's start with motivational. Where would you rate that on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd put that probably an 8.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How about direct?
I'd also put that at an 8.
Okay. Approachable?
This one's a funny one. I'd like to say 10 because I'm always just like, come and talk to me. And I'm here and I'm literally in the buildings all the time. And the staff has my cell phone and my email. But anytime I check in with someone, they're like, I was scared to talk to you. So 8? I don't know. That's a funny one because my perspective is different than, and not my management team so much, but like the rest of the staff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
How about empowering?
Oh, I'm getting there. I'd put that one maybe a little bit lower, maybe like a 7.
Okay. And energetic?
I'd say a 9.
Okay.
My energy is really good right now.
Okay. How are you showing up today as a motivational leader at an 8? What does that look like?
Why it's not higher is I think that I'm working on my style in terms of what I continue to realize, and I think this is something that we've learned as leaders for years, and we continue to learn, is that everyone is motivated differently. And whether that's from an email or a text or a let's grab a drink or whatever that is. So I think it's only at an 8 because I do know that I needed to put some more work into really making some additional connections, at least with my leadership team, on how they're best motivated, so then I can work to do that better for them.
Okay. How are you showing up as an 8 as far as a direct leader goes?
Mm-hmm. I've always been really direct, but the interesting kind of shift that has sometimes takes place is, as a leader, and depending on the timing and what your team looks like and the world and all that kind of stuff, sometimes you get a little worried to be too direct because you're scared of losing someone, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So again, I think circling back to kind of just communication styles with the team and making sure that I'm resonating there, but making sure that I am connecting on a personal level with my leadership team, because then if we already have that connection, then having the tough conversations is easier.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
if there's someone that you haven't asked how they're doing in a few weeks, and then you just go up to them and be like, hey, you suck. The directness doesn't work, right? But if you've done some vibe checks, and you've done some energy checks, and you know what's going on in their world, and then you go up and say, hey, I know you're going through it with your grandma, because we talked about that yesterday when I just checked in on how you were doing, but these are some things that slipped through the crack yesterday. That directness gets a little bit easier, and that fear of them being like, fuck this place and I'm walking out, starts to kind of like dwindle. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay. How about approachable at an 8? How are you showing up today?
I don't know. I feel like I show up really good, Kristen. Like I said, I'm in the restaurants all the time. I chat with the staff. I say hi to them. They have my contact information. I'm always saying like, let me know if you need anything. And maybe, like there's this theme that keeps coming back on the other two, is maybe just more of those, me going to individual staff members and just doing quick, me initiating first. And then maybe that makes my approachability a little bit closer to what I think it is versus what they think it is.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the opportunity there as well.
Okay. How about empowering at a 7?
I'm getting there, with Ben, my new director of ops. He's only been here with me since the middle of December. And like I've shared with you before, he's awesome, and he's showing up in great ways, and I've been really pleased with where we've landed with him. But it takes a while to build a new dynamic, and so my ability to empower him to do more, it lies more on me, as well as just building a new team dynamic than anything else. So maybe I don't know, you call it trust issues, I don't know what you call it.
Okay.
With him, but also then with my team, it's actually funny that you asked this question. Yesterday I spent probably 45 minutes of my day sending emails to people, and these are people that are on my team as well as external people that I'm waiting on things for, literally saying the same thing. Hey, just following up. Hey, just want to see where we're at with this. Hey, just saying hi, you owed me this. And I hate it. It's like the worst part of my job is having to follow up with people, because inherently I'm someone that will say, do this, or I need this, and I trust that it's going to happen. And I'm not great about the follow-up, because I just assume that everyone else in the world is going to follow up and do their job, but then they don't. And so then I don't trust that it's going to happen. And then so then I have a hard time empowering them to do more or do anything, because somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, you know what? I asked you to do this thing and I had to follow up 3 times. So
yeah,
here's where we're at, right? But maybe I just need to empower. I mean, I guess then Ben needs to be the follow-upper. He can spend 45 minutes a day on the email saying, just follow it up. And then I just follow up with Ben. But again, it's a new relationship that we're still developing in a really good way, though. It's not because there's anything wrong. It's just time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How about energetic at a 9?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I think I'm pulling a lot of energy out of this transition into Josh going on sabbatical, and it feels really good. I would say it's not at a 10, because I don't think anything can ever really be at a 10. There's always an opportunity for some improvement, and honestly, energy level 10 might be a lot. So maybe a 9 is good. But overall, and I think Josh definitely sensed it before he left. I don't think he would have left if I was at the same kind of energy level that I was last fall with everything. His comfort level of taking the sabbatical would not have been there. But I think I'm showing up in a really positive, great way that feels really good.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Unlock the skills to transform your leadership with the Hospitality Leaders Roadmap. Move from ordinary to extraordinary, packed with practical strategies to lead with confidence, and create lasting impact in your restaurant. Visit kristenmarvin.com/audio to download your free audiobook today. Let's talk about where you want to be. So again, let's go back to the scale of 1 to 10. So you're currently at an 8 as in terms of motivation. Where do you want to be?
I mean, better at all of them, right? I mean, again, I don't know that I would ever say 10 on anything, because to me, 10 indicates that I don't have any room for improvement. And I don't think that that's ever the case. So bumping all of these 8s to 9s, bumping everything to a 9 would be, I think, to me, probably the highest rating that I would ever put out there for myself, if we're not doing decimals, which I'm not doing decimals.
Okay. So we've got motivational, direct, approachable, empowering, and energetic, all at a 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would feel great.
Who are you at a 9 from a motivational perspective?
I'm really confident, because I see that my team is feeling motivated, and when they're feeling motivated, then they're getting things done, and then I'm able to empower them to do other things because they're motivated, and then I have the confidence to trust that it's all happening.
Okay.
So I think confident and proud, of them, right?
How about direct? Who are you when you're direct at a 9?
I mean, I think it's a really similar theme. I'm direct so that I'm holding people accountable, and you hold people accountable and they feel empowered and motivated, they get shit done, and then I trust them to do other things.
How about approachable?
Gosh, I feel like it's all the same word. It's all confident, right? Because when you're approachable, you feel confident that your team, regardless of whether it's a server or a busser or the director of ops, you feel confident that they will come to you when there is an issue that they feel like they need your support on. And that's a really big deal, right? Because we've all been blindsided by that manager that comes to you and is like, here's my 2-week notice. And you're like, whoa, I thought we were all good. And they're like, well, no, I've been fucking miserable and I got to get out of here. And like, oh my God, if you'd only talked to me a month ago, we could have fixed this. And that shakes your confidence, right? Because then all of a sudden you're looking around at your entire rest of your team, you're like, who's about to quit? Anyone could walk out at any moment. But if I'm feeling fully approachable by my team, then I'll have that level of confidence that we're really solid.
Okay.
And that fear that they're all just going to walk out on me. And not that I don't function in that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't wake up every morning like bracing myself that my entire team's walking out. That certainly doesn't cross my mind, but it's happened to all of us before. It sucks.
How about empowering? Who are you at a 9?
If I'm empowering my team, then I'm also feeling empowered to do the things that honestly I should be doing, rather than the things I'm doing that I haven't trusted to give to someone else. So I'm more in my role in terms of what I should be doing, more big picture thinking, more working on the business versus in the business, enjoying my days off and not having to plug in and check in and see what's going on. So I have more energy and I'm feeling rested and balanced.
Sounds like there's a sense of freedom. Yeah. Well, happy.
It's a big deal.
Freedom.
And it's funny that you say that because, I've been working. My oldest daughter is graduating from high school this year, and I'd like to take her out of town this summer as like a celebratory trip before she moves to college. And I'd like to be I'd like to be gone for 2 weeks. And I haven't been able to pull the trigger yet on buying these tickets, because I'm still don't feel like I have the freedom to do so yet.
Okay.
So that's something, yeah, that'll be a moment to celebrate when I push the buy.
Love it. You have to share that with me.
Yeah.
And in energetic, we talked about you feel like you're at a 9 and you want to stay consistent there.
Yeah.
So if you were to pick one of these characteristics to focus time and energy on, moving that needle from where you're currently at to where you want to be, which one would have the greatest impact on your leadership?
Empowering.
Okay. Say more.
That one, by empowering the team, it really impacts so many more of those, right? If my team is empowered, then my energy is great. And if my team is empowered, they are also motivated because they are feeling like they have the empowerment to do what it is that they are feeling motivated that they wanted to do. If my team is empowered, they're feeling empowered to come to me with good things or bad things, and know that it's safe to do so. So the empowerment is a really big deal on their end. And if I'm feeling like I have properly empowered my team, then my energy feels great and my confidence feels great and we're getting things done. And it's funny, right? You think about this, that there hasn't been a mention of like any financial situation here, right? But at the end of the day, I know that if my team is empowered to do what they need to do, then the finances will follow suit.
Yeah.
And that would be great.
Yeah. That's one of your big goals too.
It is.
Sure.
I mean, I know that's a big deal as a business owner and as a leader. I mean, yes, you want all the altruistic, lovely, amazing things, which I adore, and honestly is why I do what I do. But ultimately, if you can't do all of this and have a financially sustainable business, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
That's not going to last long, right?
So what's one tiny step you can take to move the needle on empowerment from a 7 to a 9?
Mm-hmm. Clear communication of my expectations and then follow through on those. If I can say to my chef, you know what, for the last 19 years, I have analyzed food cost every week to make sure that everything's great. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to show you what I do. I'll show you what my expectations are on a weekly basis for it. And I would like you to do it moving forward. Right? So communicate what needs to happen, share any kind of skill development that needs to happen around that, explain what I'd like to see, and then move on.
What's the expectation that you need to communicate clearly right now?
That this is going to happen, that I'm going to start empowering people more. I guess I need to give the expectation that's the more big picture expectation of here's what's going to change and why. So, coming at you with some conversations and some AORs and some expectations. And this is what's going to happen in terms of follow up and all of that kind of stuff.
And when would you like to communicate that and how?
That's happening tomorrow. I love when I can answer your question with something I've already put together. That's happening. It's happening tomorrow. It's my first full kind of leadership meeting that I'm hosting since Josh is on sabbatical. And a lot of it is just my vision of some changes that I want to make, and nothing sweeping, nothing like Ace is a pizza restaurant now and not an Asian restaurant or anything wild like that. But just how I want to see the dynamic be and what the expectations are. So I will be communicating that as a full team meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. And I'm really excited about it.
Perfect. So in 35 minutes,
Yes,
we've just created a development plan for you, and you're going to be able to communicate to the team that your main priority from a leadership development perspective is to work on empowering your team. And you're going to set very clear expectations for them tomorrow, and then start delegating and teaching them the skills and following up to make sure that things are getting done as they need to your level of expectations and standards.
correct.
Okay.
Yes, we were very efficient. That's because my computer is about to die.
Okay. Perfect.
Maybe it's this program. I was at half battery and now it's like red. I don't know.
It might be the video drains it.
Maybe the
So
video.
these plans are beautiful because you can take this. You've got 5 characteristics to move the needle on. You're starting with 1. You can come back to this plan over and over and over again each year, multiple times, and continue to move the needle. So now you've got a personal development plan for yourself. You can share this with your team so they know what you're working on. We're going to build these for your team and they can share them with you too. So it's all about one tiny step, just creating that awareness around how you want to show up as a leader, understanding where you're at today, building a vision on where you want to go, and then just creating that path with each of those tiny steps. This is development.
Cool.
Awesome.
One question on that with the team, and I'm so excited that my team is going to have a chance to do this with you. It makes me like really happy. Is it as the employer and the person that is funding these sessions, is it a requirement that they share with me, or do you give them that choice, or like what's the confidentiality expectation with all of this? Or
Yeah, typically because I have done this exercise with groups before. If this is a ticketed event and it's kind of open to the public and I invite people to come in and do this as a group,
Mhm.
I challenge them to take these plans back to their direct boss and share them so that there's collaboration and partnership together on this development, because it's wonderful if a leader can say, here's what I want, but then the person that's leading them also needs to have a say, in my opinion, of being able to say, here's how I'm going to support you and help you with this, whether that's through accountability and check-ins or providing additional resources in order to help that development come to success and fruition. Now, if somebody is doing a coaching session with me one-on-one, as you know, there's always confidentiality, unless we're recording, of course, for the show.
Right.
There's always confidentiality there. And so, but also as part of that, I do challenge them to do the same thing and take this back to their boss, because again, just same thing as I said, there's responsibility. I believe leadership development, the responsibility falls on both the employee and the employer.
Mhm.
And so you can't, it's going to be a lot more difficult if an employee holds that leadership development plan to themselves.
Yes.
And there's so much more opportunity and potential if they're sharing it with other people so that they can celebrate those things and figure out what's getting in their way of being the leader that they want, and then figure out how to overcome those challenges.
Yeah.
So if somebody can really master a plan like this and then turn around and start teaching this to their other hourly employees or their other leaders that they're overseeing, and create a culture of development throughout the entire organization, that's the goal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that makes total sense. We've done a lot of visioning in the past and writing visions, whether it's personal visions or professional visions. And
Yeah.
one thing that I always wrap up with when I'm introducing the concept of visioning to people that are new is, of course it's up to you, but I always encourage sharing it with someone so that you have kind of an accountability buddy, someone that can like ask you like, hey, how's it going with that? Whatever, learning how to macrame or whatever is on your vision. How's it going with that?
Yeah.
And I love this, and this is something that you and I have worked on so much, I'm getting so much better about, is just someone that you can celebrate your wins with. And that's a really big deal. And if you don't share it with anyone, then you don't have anyone to call you on your shit, and you also don't have anyone to be like, look what I did.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I love it. It's also just really inspiring, right? Just to be around people that are working on themselves and wanting to get better and make the organization better. And
Yeah.
who doesn't want to be in an environment like that? Right?
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think it's
Awesome.
really great.
Well, Emily, thank you for showing up as powerfully as you did. Really appreciate your time. and can't wait to share this with the world. And that is going to do it for us this week. So for anybody listening, please share this exercise with anyone that you know in the industry that could benefit. If you're driving, I challenge you to pull over, grab a pen and paper, do this exercise for yourself. Yeah, be safe. And we will talk to you all next week. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Kristen.